What's up everybody, this is DeanoGTO, and today we're looking at some heavy tanks, well, tanks that are going to become either relevant now or relevant in the very near future. The IS, because the ISM is going to be coming off at the next patch, and the AMX 65T, because it is currently the top of the tree on the World of Tanks EU server. So yeah, looking at both these vehicles, I'm going to jump into the IS first, because I actually had a previous attempt recording this in the 65T, and I got rushed by a light tank and a medium tank, and got like 2 shots off and died. Yeah, that tank, it's it's not very good. It really isn't. And honestly, like if you ask my opinion, like that is probably only slightly better than the MX M445, and I think Wargaming. I think they probably regret making the MX M445 a, or no, wait, what the hell's it called? The 49, that's it. The MX M449 a tier premium, because I think that tank could have been a very good tier 8 standard heavy tank. Then the MX 65T could have been a tier 7 heavy tank, because that tank, its armor doesn't even bounce tier 7. It's like this thing here's gun, which is low pen for a tier 7, goes through that thing like butter, consistently. So yeah, that just gives you an idea of just how bad the armor is on the MX 65T. So we're in the IS right now. The IS is a pretty powerful tier 7 heavy tank, and for a long time this was actually my favourite tier 7 heavy, by far. In fact, it was actually my favourite tier 7 for a long time. The reason why that's no longer the case is purely because the way the game is played has changed. Matches aren't as long as they used to be whenever I originally played this thing. And the maps, some maps are absolutely abysmal for tanks with like low penetration. Like there was a map, I'm trying to think of what it was called. It had like a valley where all the heavy tanks would go, and it had like a medium tank area where all the medium tanks would go. It was like a very it was like sort of like an Asian like area map. It was, I think it was called Sacred Valley or something like that. It was a really cool map, and it was one where there was a really, god damn it, gun. It had like a grassy valley and stuff like that there, and they changed it multiple times, and the final iteration of that map was spectacular. It was one of my favourite maps, and they removed it because it was too corridory, which was bizarre because there were so many options on that map it didn't feel like it had corridors. Because there were like 6 different routes you could use to get towards the enemy base, and the chances that all of them would be blocked by an enemy tank were nil. Like, you would maybe have one enemy tank to fight, and if there were 2 of you on that path, then you could easily win. And the thing is, it went vice versa for the guy on the other team as well, because they could fight you 1-on-1 and win, or they could fight 2-on-1 and win. Like I had multiple times where I went to the middle of that map where there was a rock in my E75 and managed to go head to head with 4 enemy tanks and win, because that's just what the E75 is like. The E75 is a monster. And to give you an idea, I think that map was removed before the first HD tank was put into the game. I think it may have been removed in like patch 8.11 or something, or 8.10. I can't remember exactly the patch name, but it was removed a long time ago, and I really missed that map. I think it was called Sacred Valley or something like that. Or it might have been Pearl River. Actually, you know what? I think it was Pearl River. Pearl River was a great map. I miss it a lot. I actually miss Northwest as well. Northwest was a map which I think had a lot of potential, and if they had worked on it for I think like 2 more iterations of that map, it would have been pretty much perfect. However, they stopped working on it because I think they just thought that they'd invested too much time into a map that wasn't working. But I think they were very close to coming up with a really solid version of that map. It's a shame that they decided to just get rid of it, because it was imbalanced, because I think it was the north spawn that had a massive advantage over the other spawn, and that was bad, of course. However, it was a very interesting map to play on. That Scorpion, if he sits there for a while longer, I'll get a shot straight into his face. Sweet. And he has 1 armor, so there's no way I was going to bounce that. Let's see, and there's a KV-3 for me to shoot at. Sweet. This has actually worked out remarkably well. Let's see, this Crusader, is he aiming at me? Nope, he's behind the rock. You may be wondering why I'm going for the engine. I'm trying to say I want fire. Nah, no fire for me. Ah well. Let's see, so all those guys have moved forward. T49 is calling for help. Has he flipped himself? Or what's happened to him? Because he's kind of hanging out back there. Oh no, this is T26C5. Yep, I can't fall back any further. See, those things there are right now are the reason why I don't like driving this tank. Fighting one of those in this thing is an absolute nightmare. It's not even funny how much better that tank is than this. Because it used to be a thing back in the day where if you were in a tier 7 heavy tank, it was entirely possible for you to go one-on-one with a tier 8 heavy tank and win if you were a good enough player. And I had multiple occasions where I was fighting against Tiger 2s in this tank and even IS-3s back before they overbuffed it to hell. And winning because if you were good enough and knowledgeable enough about the machine you were driving, you could do that. But sadly that's no longer really a thing that was promoted in the game, and it kind of just became a thing of like, oh, if you're lower tier you should lose just automatically because you're lower tier, pretty much. That's how I feel like the game kind of changed. It just didn't really promote the idea of like, oh, if you're better then you could still win even if you're a lower tier. Now doing that sort of thing is exceptionally rare. Got a big hit in his ass. And I would like to go for the kill on the IS-3, but no, never mind. T49 just nuked him. And I'm never going to get another shot into that. I'm never going to get a shot into that T10 because T10 has completely just gone. Ah, damn it! And yeah, they capped. Ah well, I can't really blame the Majin, but the IS-3, I'm not really sure why he capped. Bit of an interesting choice on his part. Yeah, it was actually thinking about it was probably a mission. I actually have that mission right now. It sucks. I haven't been able to do it once since I got it. Like, I haven't had a single opportunity to do it. That was actually an opportunity there. I probably could have taken by 1 more damage. So, yeah. Let's take a look here. Where did I come on the team? And what's coming up to my screen? What the hell is this? A thing just popped up on my screen. Oh, early access to ELC even 90. Thank you for your loyalty and passion. As a premium user, you now have channel purchase even night. As it is. Why would I want this tank? This tank is absolutely awful. Like, just gonna give my quick summary of this vehicle while it's on the screen. This tank is absolute garbage. Don't buy it. Don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Do not buy this machine. It is no armor. It's a light tank, which has a really terrible part of weight ratio for a light tank, and it can't reach a top speed consistently in the slightest, and it has horrendous gun. Don't buy this tank. It's awful. Why would I ever touch that thing with a 10-foot pole? Wow, I actually managed one of the highest damage totals on my team. Huh. Interesting. Not too bad of a game. So, I guess this time let's jump into the AMX 65T. So yeah, this vehicle here. Actually, one last thing we'll say about the IS. The IS is a very good vehicle. It has remained the same remarkably for probably about 4 years. I don't think there's been any changes other than the HD model, which actually nerfed it a little. And it has remarkably remained unchanged for a remarkably long time. Now, one thing I can say about that is the introduction of the latest generation of premium tanks, like the T26C5, has greatly affected this machine because it can't fight a T26C5 and win because there's no way for it to penetrate a T26C5, at least frontally. Like there's literally nowhere you can pen it because 175 pen is just not enough. Like I have had situations where I've been driving my IS and I've been trying to pen the front of a T26C5 and there's nowhere. Like I've tried shooting the lower front plate, I've tried going for the weak point underneath the gun mantlet, and it just doesn't seem feasible for me to pen that. And like the whole idea I always thought with tier 7 heavies is that the head's sort of penetration wise equivalent gun to the higher to a 1 tier higher medium tank. And the thing I find interesting about that there is if you look at medium tanks at tier 8, they have had gigantic penetration buffs over the last few years. Like to give you an idea, I think the Pershing used to have 180 penetration. It went up to 190. T44 had 175 for years. Went up to 183 at one point. Now it's up to over 190, I think. Tier 8 mediums have had such a massive, like, this sequence of buffs put towards them. It's just like the tier 7 heavies aren't even comparable anymore. Like it used to be that tier 7 heavies and tier 8 mediums had very comparable guns penetration wise, but they're not even close anymore. Like the only ones that come close are the Germans. And I think there's one more, but that's the AMX M445, and the AMX M445 is I don't really think I need to say much on that tank, but it's just a giant bag of shit, if I'm honest. It's awful. Like, I say this thing here is not very good, in my opinion. It's an okay machine. It can do damage in the right circumstance. Like, I have an ace tanker, I think it was an ace tanker, on the channel in this tank. And it was a really good game, but the circumstances where you can get games like that in this tank are exceptionally rare. Like, come across those circumstances where you're able to just fire off a gun and no one knows where to shoot you in return. It's so rare, it's almost like a 1 in a million. Because most of my games in this tank, like my best game before that was a second class. And I think it was like the lowest second class possible. Like, it was just, it was such an awful game. And that was my best game, and like that just gives you an idea of like how good the rest of my games were in that tank. Also, like, the gun has decent aiming time, but the accuracy is not particularly good from what I remember. Like, I honestly don't know where that even hit that guy. So, let's see. Wait, that WZ, was he driving? What was the way he was driving forward there? I didn't see it. Ah well. 1,350 health compared to 1,550. Let's see. I would really like to get a shot into this WZ, but I can't. Like, I can't see myself penetrating that in any shape or form. I may as well just go for a shot on this guy here. T10, if you could finish him off, that would be nice. Thank you. And let's just move forward because we need to. Oops. Report MX noob. I wonder who's he talking to. No idea. Ah well. Let's go for a shot onto this low. Ah damn it, WZ. Also, my FPS is kind of lagging every now and then, which is kind of annoying. Are you shitting me right now? This gun. This gun is pretty ridiculous. Oh wow, a 110 straight fire, just wrecked that guy. Also, this WZ has... Where's he at? Oh right, he's over there. I was gonna say, I think he came down the slope, but I didn't see where... I didn't see that he immediately started going down the hill. And I actually hit that guy in the move, which is actually pretty amazing for this gun. Usually this gun's pretty inconsistent from my experience at this point. Damn it. I really wanted to actually track him in place there, but didn't pin him. And he has so much more mobility than me as well. He can do 50 and I can do maximum 40. However, I top out at about 31, as you can see here. This is flat terrain and this is hard terrain. And I'm still not able to go faster than this. And yeah, this is pretty bad move. I didn't see the ISU there until it was too late, and I'd already gone around the corner at that point. That was pretty dumb. So because that game was pretty abysmal, if I'm honest, I'm probably going to play another game. Because that was a pretty stupid mistake. I honestly don't know how I didn't notice that ISU. That was really dumb. Situational awareness. One of the most important things you need to be aware of in this game. Just your general awareness is just... like, gun makes a massive difference, like the way you play and stuff. Thing is, this WZ... I think if he was able to play, if he was playing like as the max ability of that tank, I think he could probably win this still, because that WZ is a bit of a monster of a tank, especially with the backup of a 704. 704 is an absolute monster to have as backup. Like if the WZ was just covering for the 704 while the 704 was loading, then it would be an easy win for them. But I don't think that's going to happen. I also, yep, that guy's going to shot in the face. Let's see, and this guy is using the top 122 on his T10. He does not have the top 30 yet though, which is interesting. Also, we all know where the artillery is going to be. He's going to be in that little, like, in that little like area here, this little like in zone like right there, where you can like kind of hide your tank, or not. He was up. Okay, that was unexpected. I did not expect the artillery to be up the other side of the map. I didn't even see him there. Ah well. Let's see, so 1650 damage, that's actually not a bad game for this tank. From my experience, like usually you get about like 1,000, then you usually wind up dead because the tank, as soon as somebody starts focusing on you, you lose a lot of health very quickly. So yeah, let's go for another game. I do have an ace in this thing, do I? Yeah, I do. So let's go for another game in this tank here, and see how it goes. I honestly think I need to go back and try the 100mm out again, because I feel like the 100mm, purely because of the rate of fire, is probably the more usable gun. However, I do remember the 100mm having horrendous aiming time. The 100mm is just so bad aiming time wise. Meanwhile, this gun here is actually pretty reasonable. Like, that was one of like the things that shocked me about this tank whenever I originally looked at it. It had pretty solid aiming time, however the accuracy was kind of shit. And then the 100mm was kind of the opposite from what I can recall. Now, here's the situation here. I honestly would say the Type 59 has better hull armor than me. And you may be wondering why I'm actually just like coming out and just saying that just flat out. It's because I think this thing has a 90 upper front plate armor. I think the lower front plate's 100mm from memory. But it's just not effective in the slightest. It doesn't bounce anything. Like, I can count the number of shots I bounced with the front armor of this tank on one hand. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, your side scraping's your best bet, but even that's tricky because the way your armor's angled here. So yeah, and look, I'm even getting accelerated by a tiger. An M6 is overtaking me. Seriously? What the? This thing's supposed to be relatively quick in order to make up for its pretty lackluster areas, but I guess not. A fire blind shot over there. I do have, like, easily the worst thing about this here is I actually have my 50B crew in this. And even with a crew as good as that, this tank is still really hard to like. And something I like to do on this map is kind of just hang out here for a while and just kind of see whether or not my team will spot anybody in that general area. Because if you're able to get a couple shots into them, you can rack up a pretty decent amount of damage. However, looking like no one's really going to do that, and that easy 8 is up there. I mean, where's the enemy team? Oh well, there's where 2 of them are. I really need to get behind this rock, or behind this building as soon as possible. Wow, I took no damage from that. That's a genuine shock. So they have 2 turrets over there, and back to the T26E5 can play it kind of like a medium. So I guess that's really not a surprise that he's not over here, whenever most of the rest of his tanks on his team are pretty medium tank orientated. I have a feeling the tank destroyer's gonna whack me. Nope, got lucky. GW Panther just one-shot that the Hellcat, and I was really hoping I could get a shot into that guy, but nope. And this Tiger. See, this is an awkward circumstance. I don't have a very good... Oh, okay. We have that guy. Oh, there's a GW Panther right there too. Huh. Hopefully Tiger 1 will focus on that guy, I'll focus on this guy. Nope, reload too long. God damn it. See, this thing is just a complete glass cannon, except like unlike the Tiger, it doesn't have the HP pool to just kind of absorb it and just deal out its damage with its DPM. Like, that's the whole thing with the Tiger. The Tiger is just able to tank the hits with its health pool. This thing here needs a lot of time in order to do its damage because its reload's so bad. Like, and this is me using it with the full consumable, by the way. This is like the best reload pretty much you can possibly get on this tank. I've also got a feeling this guy is probably never going to poke out around this corner again. Because last time I was spotted, I was looking around this corner. M6, however, is looking the other direction, so he is going to let me know if T-34-3 makes a move. However, he is very close to death. So, what's our best way of playing this? Like, I've done no damage at this point. Like, 886 damage, that's tragic for a tier 8. All the artillery is dead though, and I really should put my driver back in. Okay, thanks for that. I'll put my driver back in because it's getting on my nerves. Tank's slow enough as it is, it doesn't need to be any slower. I think he can actually out-reload me, but let's test this. No, he's angling well, so I'm not going to touch that with 10-foot pole. Let's see. I tried to go for like the turret bulge, but kinda missed it. One benefit I have is I don't think he knows what my reload will be. Now I need to keep close to this guy, because I do think I'm able to reload him, and for fuck's sake I got caught in a goddamn building. Are you freaking... See, this gun is just an absolute... I hate this thing. The turret is so fucking bad. I hate this tank. I really don't. Like, I like the way it looks. I think it's a cool looking vehicle. However, the vehicle itself is awful. It really is just terrible. I died to a T-34-3, which is premium matchmaking. I would say it's probably a better tank tier for tier without premium matchmaking. I hate this tank. I hate this tank. Just like, I'm just gonna write that. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just too slow, combined with the shitty armor, combined with the mediocre at best gun. It's just not a good combination. And I know that I'm not really like giving you like any motivation to go towards this line. It's because this machine, it's just, it doesn't like give you much hope for the actual line itself. Like, I mean, 2000 damage, that's really kind of shit for a tier 8 heavy tank. And the thing is, I am in a situation where I could almost free XP my way to this thing. I only need like now 6000, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, first off, the turret itself costs 24,000 XP, so I'm not going to spend that much free XP just to get past this thing. It's crap, like, but I'm not going to spend that much free XP to do that. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, this thing is pretty much universally just agreed upon that this thing is pretty shit. And the more I play it, the more I'm just like, yep, pretty much. That's just the way it is. The IS still has potential. However, it really depends on the tanks you meet. Like, this tank has a lot of potential to do a lot of damage. It has, like, I would argue the mobility feels better on this than it does on the 65T, which is incredibly bizarre because look at the part of weight ratio difference, and look at the top speed difference. And the IS feels faster because the ground resistance on this thing aren't absolute garbage. So yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm going to leave this here, and just let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think the IS is still a solid vehicle at tier 7? And the AMX 65T, like, what other way can you play it in order to make it work? Because like, usually what I would do with a heavy tank that's kind of shit armor wise is I would play like a medium. However, it's just too slow to play as a medium. Like the second you come up like a slight gradient, it's just going to just completely stall out and do like 15 kilometers an hour. It's awful. It's just so slow. It doesn't need to be as slow as it is. Like, if it had a bit more mobility, it would be possible, but because its mobility is absolute garbage combined with its garbage armor, it's just a hard tank to like. Oh yeah, probably should highlight 65T while I was talking about that, but yeah, the IS is still a pretty okay vehicle. It's just that I had a string of bad games in this thing, and a string of games where I came up against Defenders, Chrysler Ks, T-25s, and even Libertés. Liberté is probably the easiest one to deal with in this thing, but all the others pretty much forget about it. Like the defender, sometimes you can hit the cupola weakness, but that's very very rare. Like it's easier to deal with an IS-6 than it is to deal with a defender in this thing, because at least the IS-6 has a weaker sidearm that you can exploit, whereas the defender, I just find that it just seems to absorb everything. But yeah, I've rambled on long enough. Let me know what you guys think of everything I've said in the comment section below, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.